This past week, of course, when WWE announced their recent slew of releases, many were shocked from the names that came out that were being released. Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, Shelton Benjamin, uh, Elias amongst those, Aaliyah as well. I mean, all these stars had so much potential if they were being utilized properly on TV, which, as a matter of fact, they weren't. We hadn't seen most of these superstars on WWE TV in quite a while. So, in that case, WWE could feel like they were justified in releasing them. If we're not using you, then you're just being an expense, you're not being an asset. And unfortunately, that's how companies view their employees. That's how companies work as a whole in corporate America. They're trying to increase their profit margin, and it is what it is. Nobody's ever happy about somebody being released, obviously, because it sucks. It's one of the worst feelings any person can have, but unfortunately, the reality of the world, it does happen. So with that said, Dolph Ziggler, he's a former multi-time world champion, former multi-time champion, mid-card champion, tag team champion. He's been a part of some of the greatest storylines, some of the greatest moments in WWE history. With that, could arguably go into discussion, one of the greatest cash-ins of all time. Now, mainly on shock value with the fact that it happened right after WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw cashing in on Alberto Del Rio. That created a very, very imprinted moment, at least in my mind, and I'm pretty sure in a lot of yours. He was always an A-plus player when it came to performing as an Intercontinental Champion, and I feel like WWE missed the boat on trying to push Ziggler into the main event, even after his injuries as world champion. At Survivor Series 2014, when he was a lone survivor against the Authority in a team, his team that included John Cena, and then WWE did nothing, absolutely nothing with that. Now, with that said, again, I believe Ziggler had just renewed his contract 5 years ago, so his contract, and this is just my opinion, I don't have any source, his contract right now, which is why it wasn't renewed, and he's a part of these releases. Can he get picked up by AEW? Sure, why not? His brother is out there, so there's always that possibility. But as far as I'm concerned, I feel like he should be done with wrestling altogether. I believe he has a career as a stand-up comedian. He might make that work. His character, his demeanor didn't really change, didn't really evolve much in the past 5 years, so he might have lost his passion for the business itself. But we'll never know at that point. We've got Elias as well, one of my favorite superstars. I was always a fan of the whole walk with Elias gimmick. He killed it with that Ezekiel, him being his twin brother. And it's unfortunate that WWE never allowed him to truly get over. And because what Mark Henry and Bully Ray said on Busted Open and on SiriusXM is pretty much true. Elias kept getting over with his guitar gimmick, with his Ezekiel gimmick, and he kept getting over at the wrong time in WWE's eyes, and therefore they had nothing for him. They didn't want to push him. They had other superstars in terms of priority, which set Elias back. And, as far as one of the biggest moments, two of the biggest moments with Elias and his latest run with WWE, of course, his confrontation with the Doctor of Thugonomics at WrestleMania 35 in Brooklyn or New York. His infamous comment with Kevin Owens about the Supersonic moment that sticks out in my mind right now. Shelton Benjamin, we're not going to hear that famous theme music. Ain't no stop me. No, I love it. I wish they brought it back with him, but it wasn't to be. And, they never really made the Hurt Business 2.0 work, which is a shame. It is an absolute shame, and he is one of the absolute best athletes to ever grace a WWE ring. Mustafa Ali, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend he was scheduled to have a North American Championship match against Dirty Dominic Mysterio at NXT's No Mercy pay-per-view. That's obviously thrown out the window simply because there are rumors, there are reports, and I frankly agree with it. With the fact that WWE thought that keeping Ali under contract with main roster salary, performing in NXT, which is effectively WWE's developmental, wasn't really being cost effective or cost efficient for the company. So they they just pretty much threw him by the wayside, and they didn't care about finishing and tying up storylines. So if it were up to me, Dragon Lee gets a rematch from last Monday night this Sunday at No Mercy, and hell, put the title on Dragon Lee. We'll just have to wait and see. But Mustafa Ali, again, I forget the name of the stable that he was a leader of during the pandemic era of WWE, and WWE dropped the ball there. Ali in 2019 actually, right before Kofi Mania, he was on a roll. I didn't think it was going to amount to an actual world title match at WrestleMania, but it would have led to maybe a mid-card title run down the line after WrestleMania. It wasn't meant to be. Dana Brooke, she never really evolved wrestling-wise, character-wise. She had tons of potential, 7-8 years ago when she was Charlotte Flair's protege. I remember that storyline so well because I felt like, okay, Dana Brooke has potential. She looks the part. If she's under Charlotte Flair, and then 1 year, 2 years down the line, she grows as a wrestler, as a performer, you got your next not top main event level star for the women's division, but you got a player right there. And it wasn't meant to be. Frankly, she just never improved. Mansoor and Massey, it's unfortunate because Maximum Male Models was one of the best gimmicks, most entertaining gimmicks on WWE TV, and unfortunately they veered away from that thanks to Maxine Dupree joining the Alpha Academy and whatnot. That put them on the back burner, kept them out of the spotlight, and that resulted in their release. Shanky, it's all about his dances on main roster TV. That's pretty much it. Top Dollar, from what I understand, not a lot of people liked him backstage. He had a lot of heat to the point that Michael Cole himself, at first I thought Michael Cole was trying to put him over on TV. No, it just seems like nobody really liked his vibe, and, well, he was gone. Then you got Emma and Riddick Moss, who just got engaged. Congratulations on that. But, they also weren't being used. And their characters, their storylines didn't seem to go anywhere. Aaliyah with the famous 317, if I'm not mistaken. 317, maybe? Again, it's hard to ring a bell. I liked her, but unfortunately she got injured. And it's very true what they say. Being off TV is career suicide, because if you're off TV, that means you're not relevant. That means you're not gaining any type of ground. In fact, you're losing ground, and, most of these stars that were released by WWE over the past week, unfortunately, were not being utilized, which is the main reason why they've been released. And yeah, again, I understand the fact that fans are looking at the fact that WWE is majorly profitable. They just merged with UFC and Endeavor, historic deal. They just renewed their rights with NBC Universal and the USA Network. SmackDown's going to back to USA in 2024. So they have money coming in. But the problem is, like I said, it's corporate America, corporation, especially a publicly traded company like WWE. They always want to increase their profit margin. And to the stockholders, to the people in charge, executives, if they're looking at a roster and they see stars that aren't being utilized, that haven't been utilized in 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, they're going to cut them loose, because it's not a best way to run a company if you're just if you have too many expenses. So again, you have to see it from both sides. It sucks from a talent point of view, but most of these stars, they can get picked up by Impact Wrestling. They could get picked up by AEW. Some of these stars could go over to Japan and kill it. They can make a lot of money in the independents as well. Again, it is what it is. That's the name of the game. That's the business that we're in, pro wrestling. And that's unfortunate. But in the meantime, tune in later on tonight to the USA Network for another episode of NXT. I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.